Welcome to my video today. Old Gun Guy here. If you like this content, like and subscribe. Today's video is going to be on a World War II Walther P-38 pistol and the 9mm cartridge. Discuss the cartridge first briefly. I've covered it in other videos. As I'm trying a new camera, I'm going to see how this comes out. It's a camera a friend gave me, a GoPro. The P-38 fires a 9x19 millimeter cartridge. It's a metric designation. The case is 19 millimeters long. The diameter of the projectile is 9 millimeter or 355 thousandths of an inch. It operates at 35,000 psi max chamber pressure, or 35 or 32,000. Small pistol primer. Useful bullet weights run from 100 grains to 150 grains. I've seen 150 grain loads. 147 is a little more common, but the most common throughout most of its lifetime is 115 grain full metal jacket, and that's what it was used in the Second World War. The German submachine gun, were 9mm, the MP-38, the MP-40, the Beretta they had, and they loaded the submachine gun ammo a little hot. Generally is around 1150 to 1200 feet a second out of a standard pistol, 115 grain. Invented in 1902, smokeless powder, and during the smokeless powder era, so it packs pretty good performance in a very little package, and a compact package. You can design a lot of handgun features around the small cartridge. 1908, the P-08 Luger pistol was adopted for the German military, the Imperial German military. Very fine, complicated, complex manufactured pistol. A lot of hand fitting, finely machined parts, very close tolerances. It's a fine weapon. As a military pistol, it is not the most reliable one. I have one, and compared to the P-38, far more reliable. Every third magazine I'll get a jam with my Luger. That's been my experience. I'm sure that would upset people. Oh, they're great pistols. They are beautiful. They're iconic. In the European militaries, the German military and the militaries of Europe, a pistol was basically a badge of office or rank. Officers issued them, and it wasn't really thought to be like a main infantry weapon, more of a badge of office, a badge of rank. The American military, handguns were more widespread, both revolvers, and in 1911 issued to air crews and support personnel and NCOs and artillery guys, not just officers. So that was a different philosophy between the American and German militaries. That said, Luger served through the First World War and the Second World War. It's actually stopped production because it was being replaced by the P-38, but they couldn't stop production until about 1942. The P-38 was developed in 1938 and adopted and put into production by the German Army and manufactured from 1939 to 1945. The pistols, a lot of them made their way back to the U.S. In soldiers' duffel bags. The greatest generation there, who survived the most destructive and deadly war in human history, the Second World War, they brought back a lot of souvenirs. I grew up around a lot of World War II vets. When I was a kid in my neighborhood, I had uncles, neighbors. They brought back all kind of firearms, handguns, rifles, submachine guns, machine guns, you name it. Everything you can imagine. They put in a duffel bag and brought home, and they earned it. And particularly prized were pistols. among the troops, and a lot of them were brought back. Lugers were very, prized, and so were the Walther P-38s. The Luger took about 2 to 3 times the amount of time to manufacture than a Walther P-38, and the Walther P-38 is an advanced firing design. Its mechanism of action actually makes it a better, safer pistol to use. To go back in history a little bit, it's a double single action semi-automatic. Before I go off on a tangent here, the soldiers who survived brought back all these firearms. Some of them customized them, and they brought back Mauser rifles. They rechambered them to, it's very popular in the 50s, neck up to 30-06 case, 8mm, rechamber Mauser rifle, sporterize it, and you had a very fine hunt rifle. They had them engraved, they had them plated, and this particular one I have here is a BYF Walther, made in the Mauser factory, 1944. Its collector value has been diminished somewhat because it was nickel plated. Troops did that too. They wanted to customize their trophy, and this one was nickel plated. The nickel plating job done was very good because it didn't obscure any of the markings on the pistol. The Waffennames are still quite visible, as is the code. Like I said, this is a Mauser production one. I'll go over the, before I get into the code, I'll go over the history. The fire mechanism is a double single action pistol. It was derived from the Walther PP of 1929. Walther came out with the PP pistol, and straight blowback. The Walther P-38 is a locked mechanism. It's not a straight blowback like the PP and the PPK. In 1931, the PPK came out, and they have essentially the same double action, single action firing mechanism. I have my Walther PPK here, and that stands for Polizei Pistol Kriminale. This is a West German made one. In Ulm, Germany, came in the U.S. about 1960. They couldn't import these after 1968, the Gun Control Act. The PPK was too small, but I'll go into that. On the PP, because it's going to be similar on the Walther, the safety aligned with the barrel is fire and a little red dot. All right, double action pistol. So on the first shot, you get it's a much heavier pull than single action. Draw the hammer back and discharge the pistol. As it cycled, the hammer would be cocked for the second shot. And that carries on to this day. And a lot of modern manufactured pistols, double action, single action, semi-automatic, that's what this is called. And obviously the single action pulls a lot lighter. The other feature, 29, and then this is 31, the Cops pistol, PPK, Police Pistol Kriminale. You put the safety down, decock the hammer safely without firing the pistol. The Walther P-38, they made about 1,277,000 approximately, the P-38 in the 6 years during the Second World War. More than 50% were made by Walther, and the Germans, to obscure the factories, they had codes on the pistols. They don't want, I guess, the factories identified so the Allies would bomb them. The Walther code was AC, Walther made pistols, and the factory was in, I have to read this, so I have a reference book here. I'll pronounce it better when I read the book. Zella Mahalis, I think that was where the factory was. And they made about 617,000 of the Walther P-38s. The Mauser company made the next biggest batch in Oberndorf, about 372,000. And then the code for that was BYF, Bravo Yankee Foxtrot. And this pistol is BYF 44, so it means it was made by Mauser, 1944. I don't know if that's going to show up on the camera. BYF 44, P-38. The last company was the Spreework, 280,000 or so, and I think their code was CVQ. But a fine modern pistol, over 80 years old, and you know, it's safe to use and carry today as anything you would buy in a store. Modern, double single action, safety decocker, like many pistols, like a 6 Sauer. You know, a lot of 6 Sauer pistols, the decocker, as well as other makes. The Waffennamen on these are the acceptance stamps. Nazi Germany, they had these little proof or acceptance stamps for the military. It was basically a German eagle, and his talons was a little swastika, and they're all over the pistol here on a frame and a slide. There's one right here. I don't know if it can show up on it'll show up on the camera, but it's a little acceptance stamp, Waffennamen. It looks like the Waffennamen is an L next to it. And go over the features before I disassemble this. Actually, let me read something from my little reference book here. This book here is about 40 years old. It was written by a sergeant major in the United States Army. He was either Hickam or Wheeler Field in Hawaii during Pearl Harbor, and he was wounded by shrapnel from a Japanese bomb as they, you know, they were fighting the, you know, shooting at the fighters with machine guns. But he did his career, served in Korea, decorated in Korea, I think a couple of Bronze Stars. Retired from the Army, got a job in the U.S. Army Ordnance Proving Grounds in Aberdeen, Maryland, and he was a small arms expert. So he wrote you know, his material was compiled in this book here that I got probably 40 years ago. It's got a lot of foreign weapons that span the world that you'll find still floating around the world today for special forces, rangers. They might run across them, how to operate them, how to take them apart, maintain them. Especially Green Berets as they go into indigenous populations and form guerrilla groups with them. That's their main task. So it obviously has the Walther P-38 in here, and I have the specs here real quick. 9mm recoil operated, weight with an empty magazine, 34 ounces, overall length 8.6 inches, barrel length 4.9 inches, almost 5-inch barrel, magazine capacity 8 rounds, and effective range 70 meters, 77 yards. Effective range is what a experienced shot can be expected to hit a man-sized target at that distance. So 77 yards. It's a good distance for a pistol. Obviously, the effective range of each individual handling this pistol could vary from 5 yards to 77 yards, or 100 yards maybe. But that's what he listed at. The 9mm Walther military model, the Hears pistol, P-38, originally manufactured in Walther, Zell-Mellis, that was the town, was intended to replace the German pistol P-08, a standard handgun of the German Army. War requirements already kept the P-08 production until 1942. The Swedish version of the P-38 is called the Pistol M39. The Norwegian service pistol post-World War II is the M38. It was used extensively by the Czech police. Post-World War II commercial versions were sent to the United States and sold through arms import houses and can be found in 22 caliber rimfire, 38 ACP, and 45 ACP, and I guess 9mm also. Post-war, the German, West German military was, as part of NATO, was allowed to rearm. They equipped their military and their police with a new manufactured in the late 50s. A version of the Walther is called the P1, but it had an aluminum frame. This is an all-steel gun. The post-war ones had aluminum frame, and there's various complaints or issues with them, but I've never shot one. I've only shot the World War II versions. I've shot another one besides this with a friend of mine. You know, it wasn't nickel plate. It wasn't pimped up. This is pimped up. Doesn't take away from its utility, or its fun, or its shootability. Okay, the features. It's got a nice blade, front sight, easy to see. Nice U-notch. A V-notch, I should say. Rear sight, and the rear sight's drift adjustable. Like a lot of European pistols, well, military pistols, you have a lanyard loop here on the left side of the grip. But a lot of European military pistols are heel release for the magazine. They don't have a button up here on the grip, upper part of the frame, like a 1911 or a Browning high power. This is the safety. That's in the fire position. That's in the safe position. All right, the hammer's down currently. This is the slide release lever over here. And the action of this pistol, if you chamber and draw the slide, put a magazine in, draw the slide back, chamber around, it's in single action mode. You can then, in single action mode, safely push the safety lever down all the way, and it decocks the hammer. And when you put it back, and it obviously triggers back here, you put it back in fire, it returns the trigger back to the fire position. Safe and fire. From the double action, it's got about a 15-pound pull. There is some slack. I don't know if you can see the slack here until my other finger. And then you take up there's no creep. It's pretty solid. I'm gonna say, yeah, 14, 15 pounds. Yeah. It's not bad though, but it's heavy. And then in the single action mode, after you fire it, slide recycle, and the hammer will be cocked, and the trigger will be back. There's a little bit of take up, a little bit of slack, and then pretty clean, about 5 pounds. It's got a nice single action trigger. Bakelite grips. It's a type of plastic they had back in the 40s, 30s and 40s. They're secured with a screw through the grip panels. The pistol operates. Put a magazine in, charge the gun, you pull the trigger and fire it. The slide and the barrel go back about 5/16 of an inch, locked together. That's enough delay for the bullet to exit the muzzle, the pressure to drop, and then the little camming piece under the barrel that I'm going to show you hits the frame, stops the barrel from going rearward. You have to do it with the other hand, cock down. The slide continues rearward, ejecting around, picking up and going against the recoil springs. The recoil springs drive it forward, pick up another round, chamber it around, it's ready to fire. This unusual pistol in its ejection, it ejects out the left side. Extractor is on the left side of the slide, and it throws the cases out to the left. Just about every other handgun I've shot ejects to the right. Some eject up straight up top, but this one ejects to the left, and that makes it kind of unusual. Doesn't interfere with anything. Lefty or righty shooting it. But the world's made for right-handers. That's why the controls are here on the left side of the frame. In many respects, like I said, you just decock it. To take this pistol apart, we'll use Sergeant Moyer's instructions, which are pretty simple. It does field strip extremely simply. And for field stripping, it's a lot easier if you put the magazine in. Alright, you bring the slide all the way back. This way it's locked open by the magazine. You can then take the magazine out. This is the takedown lever. You push it down and forward. Okay? And turn the pistol around so I can do it with my hand here. let the slide go forward to this point, pull the trigger, and there's your frame. All the components you need to access the clean, easily accessible. These are the recoil springs, the 2 small springs along the frame. That's the what operates the gun. The barrel and the slide are locked together as one unit. All right, to take it apart, there's a little cam piece that goes up and down. This piece here, this is what catches the frame and stops the barrel and lets the slide go back. But I'm going to push the firing pin in to unlock it, take it apart. It's that simple. Extremely simple. Clean the slide, clean the barrel. There's your little cam piece that goes up and down. Up, down. I shouldn't say firing pin. It's not the firing pin. Just a little plunger that helps the cam go up and down. I misspeak sometimes. You have to bear with me here. I'm an old guy and I got a lot of stuff rattling around in my head. Put this back together. You got to make sure the slide lock is down. Okay, put this back together. Make sure the cam piece is up. Barrel into the slide. And make sure that cam piece is locked, the whole assembly is locked together. And then put the back on the frame. It's a little easier if you stick the magazine in and you just pull the slide all the way back. Now it stays locked open, so you don't have to have a third hand to push this lever back. But that's it. It's pretty simple. I'm going to do my usual shooting test with this. This is a new camera I'm using. It seems to have better audio, and I'm getting used to the little tiny screen picture. That's why I'm squinting a little bit. I had a couple of camera malfunctions. My other camera, I had the two of them running together, and I did shoot some footage, shooting footage earlier, and I lost it all. No audio, nothing I could do with it. And this camera was set back too far to have any useful footage. I did save some of it, but I'm going to try again. And while I do know a lot about firearms, I am an amateur with this video stuff. I'm going to take it, going to run 3 rounds of Federal on a 15-grain full metal jacket, and 3 rounds of my hand loads over the chronograph. Do an accuracy test. 5 shots with the Federal, 5 shots with the hand loads. Basically going to do the same, almost the same, at 20 yards or so. I've shot this gun in about 6 months. I do all these videos, I shoot cold. I don't run a box of ammo through it to get all my trigger pulled down and my grip, and you know, it comes cold out of the safe and shoot it just like you would. You know, you see some of these videos of people, you know, they're shooting 2-inch groups there, you know. Right out of the box, every pistol's got a different trigger. It's got a different way you grip it. It's got a different ergonomics, and it takes, you know, 3-4 magazines to dial yourself in when you're an experienced shooter. And you'll shoot the different points of aim, you know. So a lot involved, you know. And firing a handgun is the hardest to fire of all the firearms accurately. Shotgun being the easiest, and a rifle, you know, in between. But the handgun is the hardest one to master. But we'll do that. I'll do a terminal effects test. Do the ballistic pendulums, the swinging plates, 22 versus the 9mm. Close-up recoil comparison, same guns. This versus the 22 Luger Mark II. It's an old pistol, it's 30 years old. It's my baseline as a recoil comparison for various handguns. Fired one-handed, close range at the camera. Yeah, I'll do the usual handgun stuff. Then I'll come back for the brief summary, how the gun shot, the accuracy target, the thermal effects. Obviously, using full metal jacket ammunition, you really don't need any handguns that generally, this being a military or police handgun, designed for use against human adversaries. You can also target shoot with it. That's what I do with it. You know, that's what most people are going to do with it. But as it was used in the military, full metal jacket ammunition, they tend to penetrate more than a hollow point. The purpose of them putting material in front of an FBI, you know, the ballistic target, 3 or 4 layers of denim, that's because it gives a hollow point a chance to plug up that material and not expand and act like a full metal jacket projectile. It's pointless putting 4 layers of denim in front of a ballistic target with a full metal jacket because it's just going to go whizzing through the material, no problem. You know, usually 9mm or 45 ball will go through 3 or 4 water jugs and a chunk of plywood. The 3/4 inch piece of plywood is a analog for a big, heavy, you know, human bone or animal bone. But I'll go to shoot and test, and we'll come back for the summary. Okay, I'm reshooting all the chronograph footage because I lost everything yesterday. Plus it was windy as heck out. I'm going to use just this one camera with the directional mic. It seems to have pretty good sound quality, this GoPro. So I'm just going to run 3 shots each across the chronograph. Federal 115 grain ball, similar to what this pistol fired in the Second World War. And I decided to run some hollow points through it to my hand loads. I was going to run hand loaded ball ammo, but P-38 cycles hollow points just fine. I got 124 grain gold dot, 7.0 grains of power pistol, CCI primer, and this is only loaded 2 years ago. I'm going to do 3 shots. The first 3 will be the Federal 115 grain ball, and the second 3 will be the 124 grain gold dot. I'm going to put the camera close to the chronograph so you can read the results. It's 1162. $1,056. And 1,165. That was the Federal. I'm going to change the string and do the 124 Hornady XTP hollow points. I have to move the camera. I lost my light. Move the chronograph. That works. 1,264. $1,248, and I'm going to do one more shot because $1,223, and that was the Hornady XTP 124 grain hollow point. I had the pimped up Walther here. Next one, I'm going to do the accuracy test. Pull the camera out. In the shot here. Accuracy test up next. 20 yards offhand. I'm going to shoot 5 of the ball ammo at the top target and 5 of the XTP hollow point hand loads at the bottom target out of our Walther here, and see how you know, typical groups at 20 yards offhand for this old pistol. Okay, let me see. I think I'm in the frame here. I had to reshoot this footage again. I'm going to use the 115 Federal Full Metal Jacket at the top target. I hope they don't bleed over into each other. And the bottom one, the 124 grain hand loads, Hornady XTP hollow points. They're a little hotter than the ball. I'm recycling these targets. That was from another test. And we'll see where they print. I did get this camera on me shooting yesterday. I'm going to include that in the footage, showing it the left-hand ejection of the Walther P-38. I moved the camera in as close as I dare. There's no real zoom on this thing. And we'll take our shot. So first up will be the Federal, top target. Okay, that was the Federal. I'm going to do a 6 o'clock hold on the XTPs. I don't want it to bleed into the other group. So, next up the 124. Move this back, and these got to be me. This is the 124s. So I threw 2 there, threw 2 there. Another MAGA 2, I tightened that right up, but shoot it cold. Those are the results. Going to do the comparative recoil test next with the 22. Close up on the camera. Luger Mark II 22 40 grain Remington Lightning, and the Walther P-38 with the 115 grain ball rounds. So let me stop the camera on me shooting the pistol. And that was the Federal, the hand loads. And do a comparative recoil test. Luger Mark II 22, and I used this little screen here. 2 shots. All right. Now the P-38. You know, I do the first shot double action. Really not much. Old steel 9mm, you wouldn't expect a lot of recoil. Gonna do the ballistic pendulums, I believe, after this, and maybe shoot a few steel plates with this camera. See if I can get the whole scene in the shot. And let me pause that and we'll go to that. All right, we'll set up. We'll see what happens. 115 grain full metal jacket. Gotta clean this mess up. And let me pause the cameras. I think I captured a projectile. The wind is pretty fierce out here. Okay, first jug, penetrated nice and clean, blew out the back but sort of deviating, hit the plywood, it was oriented this way, all the way off, it was aiming for us here, it hit the jug square, that's where it hit the plywood, went complete through, that's actually the exit, that's the entrance, and I didn't find the projectile. Second jug, went in there, blew a bunch of plywood into there. You can see it deviating even further. There's a witness board, clean through that. So one jug, 3/4 ply, second jug. Oh, I'm sorry. Third jug had emptied here. It may have bounced off. Just broke the jug. There's wood in there, no projectile. So 3 jugs of water and a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. That's pretty typical of a Full Metal Jacket ball round. As it's called, 115 grain Full Metal Jacket out of Walther. We're going for the summary now. I'm going to wait for the whitetail to bring off my range here. There we go. We're going to do the ballistic pendulum test, the energy comparison. 8-inch steel plates, 3/8 AR-500. Center plate, 2 shots, 22 long rifle out of the Luger Mark II 22 pistol, and 2 shots out of the Walther on the right plate. I'm going to get the pistols. I'm going to move the camera up closer and take the shots. Okay, the 22 long rifle up first. Okay, now 2 shots with the Walther. Okay, that's our energy comparison. I think the deer are all up the hill there. I'm going to throw some rounds down range at the 50-yard target, and just offhand with the Walther, and that'll wrap it up. Okay. I think I'm in the scene here. try one more mag. That'll be it. That'll be it. I'll have to look at the footage. Pleasant pistol to shoot. It's pretty accurate. I do my part. And sometimes I don't do my part. And that's the way it goes. I'm going to go back in for the summary and wrap it up. Okay, I'm back for the summary. Good, nice to be out of the cold. It's in the 30s out there. The summary on a Walther P-38, our pimped up version here, nickel plated, World War II bringback, made in 1944 by Mauser, this particular pistol. I did the chronograph. I had to reshoot everything. The other camera I was using, the audio crapped out totally. I reshot the chronograph info. I was going to use 2 sets of ball, the Federal factory load, 115 grain, which I did in the second reshoot, which is on this video here. And I used one of my hand loads. And I think I misspoke in some of the clips that it's XTP. It's not. It's 124 grain gold dot projectiles, spear gold dot. And it looked like that. Gold dot hollow point, 124 grain. And the load I used is a 124 grain gold dot jacketed hollow point, 7.0 grains of power pistol. And when we shot that over the chronograph, it averaged 1,223 feet per second for 412 foot-pounds of energy. The standard deviation, that's the average shot to shot, is 17 feet a second, which is very good. The extreme spread was 41. That's high shot to low shot, 41 feet a second. The Federal averaged 1,165 feet per second, which translates to 347 foot-pounds of energy, about 65 foot-pounds less. Quite a bit less. Lighter projectile too. The Walther P-38, the reason I decided to use the hollow points I had loaded is just to show you that this old military pistol digests the hollow points, no problem. So you could use it in a defensive role for your home defense if you should have one of these. Did the accuracy test. I reshot that. The one that's on the film here is the one I did today. The other one I lost the audio, was useless. I do have the target from it though, but yesterday's target, 20 yards offhand, was this was the Federal, this group here, and this was the hand-loaded ball. Kind of had a horizontal stringing there. Today's could have been me, could have been the ammo, who knows? This was the Federal, 3 shots here. And 2 down here, and then my hand load, the 124, the 3 shots very tightly grouped, and then 2 way off right here. This is a previous shot from a different test. Try and save these cardboards as much as I can. 20 yards offhand, it's plenty accurate to do the job. It is a pleasant shooting pistol, all steel 9mm. Recoil is very pleasant. It's not nothing just about anybody could handle. Like I said, I found the P-38 to be a lot more reliable than a P-08 Luger, and maybe one day I'll do a comparison with the two. The Luger is a fine pistol, but the P-38 is also. Did the ballistic. The recoil comparison, 22 long rifle versus the Walther, and I fired a double action and a single action. And that's the hardest thing to master with a double action, single action pistol, is the two different trigger pulls. No matter how long you shoot them, it's still very hard. I generally try and go single action if I can, just for consistency. But if you're drawing and just firing at the first shot, you're gonna go double action, and the shot's gonna be not where the other shots are. The ballistic plates, I had some deer wandering around behind the plates. I don't want to hit them. Sometimes they're annoying. They don't want to get off the range. They trotted up the hill though. 22 long rifle, the center plate, the 9mm, as I do in most of the videos, has a considerable, considerably more energy imparted. Then I did some offhand shooting, 50 yards at the torso. I hit that, I missed a couple of shots, but I hit most of it. The terminal effects test, I used a full metal jacket round, as you would if you were using this in a war zone. All full metal jackets tend to penetrate more than hollow points. It went through the first jug of water, started deviating to the left and down, hit the wood, way off center. There's a fresh piece of 3/4 inch plywood. Went through that, no problem. Went through 2 more water jugs. The second water jug went through, blew it up, and went through the little witness board I had, but it was really down. It clipped the third water jug and it blew wood into it, but I didn't recover the projectile. It just deviated off to the right and off the shooting bench there. That's typical for ball ammunition, 9mm ball, and that's what would have been used in this pistol exclusively. The Greatest Generation brought back many of these souvenirs, and you may have an uncle or grandfather and you wind up inheriting one of these. If you do, hold on to it. It's a fine handgun. It's easy to take apart and maintain, as I showed in the introduction. It's accurate. Could you carry this concealed? Yeah, sure, you could. It's got a safe mechanism, double single action. Safe to carry with the hammer down, with a round in the chamber. You would start messing up. Well, it depends on the finish on the gun. You're not ruining the collectability of this one by carrying this. Home defense will take hollow points. Yeah, it cycles hollow points. I've shot hollow points through this gun many times, and not a hiccup. Every once in a while you get a failure to feed, but you get that with even ball. It doesn't go all the way in the chamber, but that's usually when it needs to be cleaned, and this one needs to be cleaned. There's a good excuse for me to take it out, shoot it, and clean it, because it needs to be cleaned. Went through all the tests. I think he gave it a decent workout. I had to jump around with all the different footage, so I'm a little confused on what I shot, what I didn't shoot. I'll edit it and put it together for the video. This little GoPro camera, it's got a postage stamp size screen, so it's hard for me to see, but it seems to have much better audio and much better video quality. So I'm going to use it. I just adjust the way I shoot, film this stuff. The Greatest Generation. They indeed were. I grew up around, I was honored to, and lucky to grow up around a lot of them and talk to them. They didn't talk about the war much, any of them that I really knew. Even my grandfather, he was in North Africa all the way up to the war ended in Italy. 5 years he got stuck. Once in a while, if they had a few drinks in them, you get a few little tidbits out of them. But they were low-key guys, and they suffered much. They're stoic. They really were. They were stoic and great guys. There's only very few of them left. World War II generation. But back then, the country, when their guys put their lives on the line, they brought back a souvenir. They didn't try to throw them in jail. I don't think the military or soldiers today can bring anything back at all. Probably not even a trench knife. It's a sad state of affairs. But like I said, a fine pistol. With that, I don't have a lot more to talk about with this right now. I'm kind of tired from the cold. My head is ringing. And like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll keep making these when I get a chance. I'm going to put this one together and put it out while I'm away. I'll be away for a couple of weeks, and then I'll come back with another video. And with that, I'll sign off. This is Old Gun Guy. Have a good afternoon.